Hi, my name is Anna Sofia binti Zulkifli and my number matric is 2022482092.
My name is Wan Raina Saibah binti Wan Saifuddin. My matrix number is 2022477466.
Hi, my name is Irfan Abib bin Iwazakwan. I'm from class KAC110 and my college number is 2022862988.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and hi, my name is Nurul Najwa binti Supian Hadi and my matrix number is 2022824374.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Asfa Ishram Tuan Faizal. My matrix number is 20226946.
A baked food item called bread is formed from flour or meal that has been wet, kneaded, and occasionally fermented. It has been a staple food since prehistoric times and has been prepared in a number of ways, employing a wide range of ingredients and techniques. Gardenia Bakeries KL Sdn Bhd is one of the well-known bread brands in Malaysia. Horatio Size Locum, an American, was sent by the International Executive Service Corporation to East Malaysia in 1969 to start a bakery. The majority of Mr. Locum's 35 years of baking knowledge came from his time spent working for one of the biggest bakeries business in the country. A flower spring blooms is called a gardenia. The specialty of gardenia bread is the flavor, freshness, aroma of newly baked bread. Softness and nutritional value of gardenia bread is well-known. The well-known classic white bread complies with a Department of Health standards since it is cholesterol and bromine free, vitamin and mineral fortified, and trans fat free. Gardenia health breads are the ideal option for consumers who are concerned about their weight, their health, and their fitness. There are many types of bread that has been produced by a Gardenia. One of the types is Gardenia Classic Jumbo White Bread, 600 gram, and the price is RM4 Malaysia. And the second one is Gardenia Classic White Bread, 400 gram, and the price is RM3 Malaysia. And the last one is Gardenia Wholemeal Bread, 400 gram, and the price is RM4 Malaysia.
Summary of microeconomic issue. There are three basic economic concepts which are scarcity, choice, and opportunity cost. One of the basic economic concepts is scarcity. During the lockdown season, some people are facing scarcity because they have lost their jobs, which are their source of income. Due to limited funds, they are unable to purchase all of the items they desire, but must choose between Gardenia bread or Mighty White bread when they want to purchase a bread. The second concept is choice. People are forced to make choice due to scarcity. For instance, if people choose to buy more Gardenia bread, they will have less money to spend on Mighty White bread. The last one is opportunity cost. There will be an opportunity cost after people make choices. If they decide to buy Gardenia bread, the opportunity cost of doing so is a Mighty White bread that is forgotten. The PPC depicts the combination of two goods, which is Gardenia bread and Mighty White bread. The PPC, which is concave, demonstrates the principle of increasing opportunity cost. At point F within the PPC indicates that there are unemployed resources in the economy. This illustrates the ineffective and wasteful use of resources. At point G, located outside the PPC, represent unattainable production. This is due to a lack of production resources at the time. Points on the PPC imply the concept of choice. as we must choose between points A to E, which represent efficient production combination. For instance, going from point B to point C shows that it is possible to generate more Gardenia bread and less mighty white bread. Next, movement from one point to another point on the PPC represent opportunity cost. At point A to B on the PPC, the economy produced 80 Gardenia breads and 1 mighty white bread. Consequently, we can see that 1 unit of mighty white bread must be sacrificed or given up in order to gain 10 extra units of Gardenia bread.
So demand, what is demand? So demand we can be referred as the economic ability of a buyer to purchase and the willingness to buy the goods and services. So the law of demand states that when prices of a product increases, the demand of the product will decrease. So one of the key factors of influencing the change in the demand curve is consumer preference. So based on this slide, the graph show demand curve for Gardenia bread D0 compared to mighty bread D1. So Gardenia has been a fan favorite brand of bread for Malaysian for a long time. So when mighty bread was introduced into the market, the demand for mighty white increased drastically because people preference more into mighty white because mighty white offer more quality at the same price as Gardenia. So this caused quantity demanded for Gardenia to decrease from D0 to D1, causing a shift to the left in the demand curve. Second is socio-economic condition. So as we know, the COVID-19 has badly damaged our economy. So our government implemented the MCO, the Movement Control Order, in order to control COVID-19. So at that moment, as people know, people began to stockpile food items and home supply, like toilet paper, bread and food and so and so. This causes a high demand in the bread market. So the demand curve will shift to the right. Next is consumer expectation of future price. So when our nation was struck with COVID-19, the government and companies expected the price of things also will increase as going on the COVID-19 pandemic. So people expectation of the price also sees that way. So based on the law of demand, as the price increase, the demand will decrease. And so during when the price was still low, people demand for that product will increase as the future product and as the future price will be higher. So for now, the demand will show a demand curve to shift to the right. So next is supply. Supply can be stated as the willingness or the ability of a producer to supply different quantity of goods and services at different prices and time ranges. So the law of supply states that when price of a product that the producer provide increase, the more the quantity of the product must be supplied in order to achieve maximum profit. So one of the factors that affect the change in the supply curve is the cost of production. So when we move into MCO, the government imposes that economic sector, most all the companies in Malaysia must temporarily close their company and shut down in order to minimize the spread of COVID-19 cases throughout the nation. So this causes a decrease in supply of food item and home supply, which is caused by the less worker in the company, because most of the company need to be shut down. So in a graph there will be a change and shift to the left in the supply curve as the supply will decrease. Next is government policy. So the government of Malaysia released an act that helped the local companies and entrepreneurs during the COVID-19, after the COVID-19, by giving subsidies on certain goods like flour, egg and butter. In this scenario, the Gardenia company is able to cut down the cost of production of making bread, and also increase the wage for their workers in company. This also caused an increase in supply of the bread and causes the supply curve to shift to the right. And the last one is producer expectation of future price. So as the year 2022, the Malaysia economy inflation has risen drastically following the COVID-19 pandemic. So the government and industrial company predicted there will be a rise in price of their product. The rise of cost of production to produce their product. So this will also cause an increase of the price of the product. So the food company, even though there will be an increase in the price of the product, companies will need to turn down the flow of supply as the cost of production is higher now than in the future maybe. So in order to minimize the cost of production, company will need to turn down the supply. So in the graph there will be a shift to the left of the supply curve.
Elasticity of demand. Elasticity of demand measure their percentage change in demand and their percentage change of any its determinants such as price, income, and so on by assumption of ceteris paribus. Elasticity of demand is crucial when a firm analyzes several kinds of goods to price change to determine pricing strategy. There are various types of elasticity of demand, which is price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, and cross elasticity of demand. Regarding this instance, we will discuss about how price elasticity of demand for Gardenia bread. Inelastic is a smaller percentage change in quantity demanded occurs from change in product price. As the curve shows, when the price increase from P1 to P2, the quantity demanded decrease from Q1 to Q2. As a result, the percentage change in price is larger than the percentage change in quantity demanded. Price elasticity of inelastic demand has a steeper slope demand curve. This shows that consumers are not very responsive and sensitive to the price change of this type of goods. Factors influencing price elasticity of demand. One of the essential requirements, bread is inelastic because consumers will always buy it regardless of price change. This demonstrates how consumers are particularly unresponsive to change in bread price. Additionally, Gardenia bread is one of the famous local brands that will attract all consumers through a variety of media, including radio, advertisement, social media, and more. Therefore, consumers will always pick Gardenia bread over other bread brands. Gardenia bread has an impact on a number of demand-related factors. So, first, one of the factors influencing price elasticity of demand. The percentage income spent on a product was challenging for Gardenia's bread. The amount of money that's spent on them is inversely correlated with the demand for Gardenia's bread. Because of this, consumers all of income level can purchase bread. Therefore, the consumer will be unaffected by price change and continue to buy it. Second, one of the basic items is bread. In general, bread is most important or fundamental item for breakfast in Malaysia, since it may be eaten in a variety of ways, such as with toppings, toast, burgers, and other dishes. Due to its inherent natural taste and health, it can also consume only plain bread without any toppings. These factors may increase consumer demand for bread. For bread to price rise as a result of their necessity. Therefore, consumer behavior is another factor. The demand for bread will be inelastic for consumers who are habituated or accustomed to consuming it because it becomes important commodity to them. Therefore, bread also has a lot of health advantages. For instance, bread contains protein, folic acid, fiber, and can lower cancer risk among other things. Hence, regardless of price increase, consumers who are practice a healthy diet will continue to buy bread. As a result, for lack of bread substitutes, Gardenia bread is a subject of inelastic demand. Since there are not many varieties or brands of bread available in the market, there are fewer bread replacements. For instance, there are many different kinds of bread that are available in the market, including croissant, muffin, wafers, and others. Well, there are also many different types of bread like Massimo, Mighty White, Fresco Grano, and others. Analysis of market equilibrium. Market is a place that buyers and sellers interact each other to establish the price and quantity of goods and services exchanged. Meanwhile, market equilibrium is a situation that the quantity demanded and supply are equal. The price and quantity will not have a propensity to vary after the market had reached equilibrium. So there will be a shortage when the quantity demanded is greater than quantity supplied. Based on the curve shown, this problem exists because the price is situated below the equilibrium level. During the pandemic COVID-19 in the year 2020, the demand of the Gardenia bread increasing dramatically. This showed that supplier faced difficulties to produce more fresh bread every day due to the maximum capacity of every factory's Gardenia bread in Malaysia. There will be force and upward pressure for pushing the price rise up to the equilibrium level. So when the price goes up, there will be two repercussions on both buyers and sellers. The first one, when the price goes up, the consumer will reduce the quantity that they acquire of the goods because now it is more expensive. At the same time, the seller can expand more sale and gain more profit due to the supplies are increasing. The effects of market equilibrium. So there are two articles about Gardenia bread during the pandemic COVID-19. The first one is factories at full capacity. Gardenia said unable to increase bread supply. And the second one is Gardenia says price increase of bread is inevitable. The demand increase but supply is held constant. This caused by the article that I showed before, that the effects of the pandemic COVID-19 will affect the market equilibrium curve also. So when the pandemic COVID-19 in the last 3 years happens, the quantity of consumer increase due to panic buying when the government announced to all people in Malaysia for movement control order MCO that will cause the increase of demand Gardenia bread. Therefore, the demand curve will shift rightwards from D0 to D1. The equilibrium price will increase from P0 to P1, and the quantity also increase from Q0 to Q1. Thus, the equilibrium level will change from E0 to the new equilibrium level E1. So refers to the article and curve above. This happened because Gardenia bread is one of the basic needs that all consumer needs during the pandemic COVID-19. So due to the government announce and instruct all people to stay at home during the movement control order MCO, all consumer panic buying and purchase a large quantity of Gardenia bread for future protection. This will raise the demand for Gardenia bread, but because the machine operating at full capacity, the supply can't be increased, unable to increase. Every factory Gardenia bread at Malaysia only can produce 2 million of fresh breads every day. Consequently, the consumer still buy the bread even the price increase.
When buyers and sellers come together to conduct a business, we call it as a market. For market structure, we can refer it as the number and distribution size of the buyers and sellers in the market for particular goods and service. There are 4 types of market structure, which is perfect competition, monopoly, monopolistic competition, and oligopoly. Gardenia Bakeries KL Sdn Bhd can be said to be in monopolistic competition. It is because it has the characteristic of monopolistic competition, which is large number of sellers. Although there are many vendors and purchasers in monopolistic competition, the number is not great as it is in perfect competition. In monopolistic competition, there is easy entry and exit. In contrast to pure competition, Gardenia Bakeries KL Sdn Bhd finds it relatively simple to enter a monopolistically competitive industries. Producing alternative to the existing product or developing a brand new enables to the existence of new business in the sector. Finally, monopolistic competition creates goods with few alternative or distinctive products on the market. In other words, numerous vendors provide the same product under multiple brand names and with varying packaging, labeling, and advertising. For example, when buyers and sellers come together to conduct business, we call it as a market. For market structure, we can refer it as
The declaration of lockdown during the pandemic COVID-19 has resulted in change in consumer behavior. With the fear of not knowing what will happen in the future, consumers around the world began to panic buy and empty the shelves in supermarket to stock up on daily necessities at home. For instance, Gardenia bread is one of the most popular items in Malaysia. Consumers buy a lot of bread to make it as their stock. Other than that, these were the effects of COVID-19 towards Gardenia bread that we had to face. Number 1. Consumers' preference is quantity demanded for Gardenia to decrease and cause the curve to shift to the left. Number 2 is due to MCO. High demand in bread as stock pills are decreasing and causing the demand curve to shift to the right. And then for the number 3 is cost of production of bread is decreased in supply indirectly. The supply curve will shift to the left. Number 4 is the demand of Gardenia bread increasing dramatically and the supplier face difficulties to consummate the demand of bread due to the capacity of factory bread makers because they had limit in producing fresh bread in one day. So, for the conclusion is, this assignment allows us to learn about the economy and identify problems that arise in our daily life. Overall, we have a thorough understanding of the economic concept of market demand and supply. We know that demand of Gardenia bread increased during the COVID-19 pandemic because the consumer prefer to buy it as a food supply during the MCO. Since the quality of Gardenia bread is better than other bread brands, consumers keep buying and make it as their stock. Furthermore, due to increased demand, the supply of Gardenia bread is increasing. All supply and the demand curve will shift to the right. This can affect the market equilibrium indirectly lead to the new equilibrium of price and quantity. Other than that, it also enables the seller to maximize revenue while incurring minimal costs in order to increase their company's profit.